let's be honest, most of you by now have heard that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company is suing Pocket Pair, the developers of Palworld, and the developers of Palworld did issue an official statement after the official lawsuit that Nintendo filed late last night. But let's get into how we got here. Let's get into the origin story, so to speak. So about 8 or so months ago, Palworld released on Steam to the whole world to be able to play, and it quickly generated a lot of income, a lot of money, became very popular, and one of the big controversies that the game had around it at the time was that it felt like it was just blatant copyright infringement of the Pokemon design. Personally, I feel like Palworld is more in relation to Roster Arc, but we can debate that all we want. The point of the matter is that there was a lot of controversy around Palworld basically being a mature version of Pokemon. And there is a lot of features within Palworld that does feel somewhat similar to the whole capturing mechanic, to the whole, breeding mechanic. There is a lot of things that feel Pokemon-esque, and even the design of the creatures themselves do feel very much inspired by Pokemon to a degree. Now, the point of the matter is that when this controversy happened, a lot of people said that the Pokemon Company and Nintendo would sue Pocket Pair because of the blatant copyright infringement with the models. There was a lot of controversy that, Palworld was stealing models from Pokemon and all that, literally stealing models and ripping them and then putting them in their game. And the point of the matter is that controversy died off. It was something that just eventually teetered down to basically nothing. The embers were just all that remained of it. It was just ash. And then months started to go on by. It became February, it became March, it became April. You get the point. The months continue to move on by. But then, late last night in September, we had the announcement that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company is officially suing Palworld for damages to the multi-billion-dollar company. So, what are they doing exactly? Well, one thing that people are getting very confused with this lawsuit is they think it is copyright infringement. It is not. It is not copyright infringement why Nintendo and the Pokemon Company is suing Pocket Pair. They are suing them over patent rights. This is very important. It's a very distinct difference between copyright and patents. It's a completely different legal game, and let's just get the brief summary of this, okay? Obviously, copyright material, it could range from oh, you're stealing my assets, or you're using my logos, etc. That's kind of copyright, while patents is something that you say, I design, let's say, the toilet. I've designed this toilet, it's a certain design of the toilet, I have ownership on how to make toilets, that is a patent, so to speak. And in this case, Nintendo, for a long time, and a bunch of other companies as well, not just Nintendo, they file patents to be able to protect their, their property, their physical and digital property, basically where people don't copy their format and try to steal it, and they've obviously done this for a lot of their systems and gameplay mechanics throughout the years for a bunch of their different games. They've done it for Zelda, they probably have done it for Mario, and they've definitely done it for Pokemon, which gets into this. This is, from what I can find, the current patents that the Pokemon Company holds for Pokemon in general. And, you can pause the video to read them for yourself. I'll even link this, website in the description of this video. But there is a lot of patents here that are just extremely vague and honestly just word salad. You have some patents literally talking about breeding mechanics. You have some patents literally talking about basically mounting an air object and flying. It's super, super vague. To, having other mechanics about literally throwing an object into 3D space, aka like a Pokeball, and they have a patent of that. They pretty much have, it doesn't even say actually a spear object or even a Pokeball, it just says throwing an object in the actual 3D space, and you have to do these exact directions for it to work. But basically, obviously the Pokemon Company and Nintendo have patented a lot of things with their gameplay, and people are probably wondering, why the hell can a company patent systems, actual gameplay systems? Well, don't ask me, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not someone that makes laws and rules, etc. But the point is, it's been a thing for a very long time. And actually, in relation to this, we even have the actual Nemesis system, which people might be more aware of this, but this was a actual system within the Lord of the Rings game, like Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor, etc., that was, patent and actually, put behind patent law. And so other game studios or game companies could not replicate the Nemesis system without potentially facing a lawsuit. And so the Nemesis system is something that's been very infamous for a very long time. There's a lot of videos detailing and explaining what makes the Nemesis system so unique and vibrant and amazing for gaming, but the thing is, it's been locked behind patent gel that no game company can even come close to making a system like the Nemesis system, which honestly hurts creativity and the future of gaming, in my personal opinion. But, anyways, getting back into the main point, Nintendo has filed a lawsuit, and the lawsuit in particular, they don't necessarily say what patent Palworld broke. They don't say, like, oh, it was this patent, this ID, whatever. They don't say that. But we do have a lot of vagueness to go on with these different patents, and we can kind of speculate what they're trying to go for, because we know for a fact Nintendo and their lawyers, their legal team, has probably been sitting in their, like, main office for about 8 months now, trying to figure out how they can get back at Palworld for smearing the name of Pokemon. They're very upset, and so they want to do anything in their power to potentially gain revenue back from Palworld, but also basically use them as a demonstration that, never do something like this again. No other company, you better not try to smear a name ever again, or we're gonna slam the book at you, which that gets into the next point. So the lawsuit in question that is being filed in the Tokyo District Court. AKA, this means that it's going to be in Japan, and anyone that knows a little bit about Japanese law when it comes to their court cases, usually the court cases always end in the person that's actually filing the lawsuit's favor. AKA, if it comes down to copyright, if it comes down to, like, patents and all that type of stuff, usually the person trying to say they're stealing our stuff, they're the ones that always win. Like, you can look at it, basically, Japanese courts always usually one-sided, and so in this case, if this truly is going to be taken to the Japanese court in Tokyo, that basically means that Palworld just does not stand a chance. They don't. Which is honestly very awful in the grand scheme of things, because this basically sets a like an example that anything that even dares come close to kind of trying to do something, you know, innovative with the Pokemon formula, even if it is not strictly copying it, could theoretically be sued by the Pokemon Company and Nintendo. This entire lawsuit honestly feels very malicious, and it feels like it's just extremely anti-consumer. Now, I do want to preface this and say this first before I go any further. Nintendo is in their rights to defend their intellectual property. They are in their rights to send copyright infringements or patents and all that type of stuff. You know, they are within their legal right to do so. However, it doesn't mean it is morally the good thing. At the end of the day, they are trying to make money. They are a company, so it makes sense why they would do this. But in terms of their image, this does look bad. This makes the Pokemon Company and Nintendo look very bad, very greedy, very awful, and they're missing the reason why Palworld was successful in the first place. The reason why Palworld even became as popular as it did was because a lot of Pokemon fans, including myself, I've been playing Pokemon since Red and Blue on the literal gray brick before the Pokemon color even existed. I have felt for a very long time that the Pokemon game franchise hasn't really innovated enough. Yes, there is subtle changes they try here and there with each individual generation, but obviously it is the bare minimum. You can look at countless videos, discussions, posts, and all that of people really dissecting that the modern day Pokemon games, they're not trying. They really are not trying. There's just so much more that they actually can do. And the thing is because of this, it feels like the Pokemon Company and Nintendo haven't grown with their audience. Because let's be completely blunt here, most Pokemon fans are definitely people within their 30s. I'm not saying there isn't people in their 20s or teens, but definitely I know the massive hardcore fan base is people within their 30s. Because it's like most people that play the Pokemon games grew up with said Pokemon games. And I'm not saying it's not popular with kids. I'm just saying you don't see many kids opening up card packs for $500 to $1,000 continuously on stream. It's usually grown men and adults. All I'm saying is that Pokemon clearly is more of a 30-year-old type, you know, I guess, demographic. Once again, that varies, but I personally believe that, and I think that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company has failed to grow the game franchise with its actual core audience, and obviously people feel very frustrated about that. And I feel like Palworld coming in was something that more or less confirmed that this is what people want. They want a more mature take on the Pokemon franchise, a fresh take as well, something that doesn't feel like a copy and paste. They want something that is brand new. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, this lawsuit, this bad, media coverage and all that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company is going to get, it's probably not going to do massive damage to them. I mean, it's possible, but I don't think so. There's just too many people that will actively go and buy the new Pokemon game, go buy the new Mario game, whatever, and not even really think too much about it, which is fine, but they don't think too much about it, and they'll just continue buying the same game over and over. It's like the FIFA players, or Call of Duty players. Well, Call of Duty's kind of changed a little bit, so I can't really call it out there, but anyways, all I'm saying is that this is just, it feels very malicious. This doesn't feel like more or less protecting their copyright rights or patent law rights or whatever. This just feels like Nintendo wanting to be malicious because a company dared try to rival Pokemon to some degree, and it is very suspicious that they waited this entire time, many, many months later, to file this lawsuit after Palworld has basically generated a lot of revenue for Pokemon Company, could sue them for even more money. That's all I'm going to say. I'll leave it at that. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.